thought I was gonna wake up and do some laundry and go to a Buddhist monastery today, and that's not what happened. I didn't get out of bed when I woke up because the guys weren't up yet and I didn't want to wake them up. And I stayed in bed until all of a sudden I realized it was too late to do the laundry and then go to the monastery. So I was like, oh, shit. But they were like, no problem. You can do the laundry tonight when you get home. You can stay another night, it's no problem. So I headed downtown to get some food to take to the monks, because that's a big part of things. And they didn't have what I wanted. And I felt immediately derailed by that. I was like, oh, fuck, they don't have, like, food that I can bring in the... what am I going to do? And I crouched down to look at an item, and my cock and balls fell out of the pants I was wearing, because I wanted to clean the clothes that I had, and I didn't want to wear the clothes that I had, because, in fact, the pants I was wearing already had a hole in the crotch. I was like, I can't wear these to a monastery. And they're dirty, and, I want to be clean and all those things. So I was like, oh shit, well I can't wear these pants to the monastery anyway. Oh my god, I'm just obviously not going to the monastery this morning. And then I pulled out my phone and I noticed that a friend from New York who's kind of managing my apartment while I'm away, I told him I was going to talk with him this morning and I had forgotten entirely. And he had messaged me and he's like, I'm at your apartment, what are you doing? And I was like, oh fuck. A bit of a scattered mess. So I talked with him and sat in my car in the parking lot of the co-op for like an hour talking with him and arranging everything. And then I did some shopping. It was much more expensive than I meant to. I was like, why did I just do this? But I did. And then I went to a place to put more air in the tires because I felt like they were low. And the air at that place I went to was broken. So I was like, okay. So I I had to find another one. But then I had to do some more shopping. It was just like this, like going in circles, not achieving things, like being missing, void of course. And so then I decided what I was going to do was go to the Temple of the 10,000 Buddhas. Seeing that I didn't make it to the Buddhist monastery, I was going to go to the Temple of the 10,000 Buddhas, which is actually very close to where I'm staying, and I kind of had fantasized when I stayed here I'd go here every day, which I hadn't been doing. So I went there for lunch, because they have a very nice restaurant, and then I went... Oh, and then I sat in my car for another half hour to 45 minutes staring at the phone. And then I went to the temple and I did some walking first to kind of get myself grounded, thinking of the importance of being grounded and just being centered in the feet, and how even the practice of walking meditation, where you're constantly like being aware of the sensation of the feet and the sensation of lifting, carrying, placing, like the minutia of walking, is very grounding because it pulls your energy down out of your head and out of all your scattered upper ranges down into your feet, which really get you into the ground. If you're at all in your feet, that's what they just naturally are doing, is getting into the ground. Is there a moon over my shoulder? Oh my god, there's a moon over my shoulder. How embarrassing. Didn't even know. Hi there, moon. And then I went and sat, and I mean, that temple's amazing. All the concentration and sacredness. Some monks walked in and out and did some ritual while I was there, and some local people came in and did some work and did some meditation, did some prayer. And I did some mantras, but mostly I was just sitting there and letting the tightness, the density of self dissolve. I felt so good to let the density of self dissolve and just really feel the, like, I am that, the oneness with all, and the connection and the oneness with all. It was really lovely. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go for a hike. I'm in this beautiful place and I haven't gone for a hike, and there's all these mountains around here and I see the sun up there and I think I want to go walk in the sun. So I looked online where some trailheads were, and then I started driving, and right before I got on the freeway there was a boy hitchhiking, and I was like, well, I should ask him how far he's going. And he said he was only going up to Willits, and where I was going was like 6 or 7 miles away, and Willits was like 15 miles away, but I was like, okay, I'll go to Willits for you. And then he's like, okay, let me go get my girlfriend. So they were nice kids from Mexico, and I drove them up to Willits and dropped them off. And then I drove back down, and it was beautiful just to see that drive and to do a nice thing for people for no reason. And then I tried to make some calls so I could arrange the future, and that didn't result in anything happening. It was voicemails. And I drove back down, and I went to the place I had decided I was going to hike, which unfortunately was not in the sun at all. It was definitely in the shade. I was like, if I go to the east of the freeway, up in those mountains, the sun is shining on them because it's setting in the west. That'll be great. I'll get some sun. But no, it was down in the valley, and it was along Lake Mendocino. And that's cool because I'd never really walked along Lake Mendocino. And I looked up at the moon rising over the Lake County hills. And it looked so much like a planet. It's not a planet, it's just a moon. It looked so much like another world. I guess that's what I mean to say. It looked so much like another world, and I imagined all the generations of people who believed that that was another world, or could believe that that was another world where people lived. And I kind of felt sad that we know, through our current religion of science, that there's no life on the moon. I don't know. I like to imagine there was, and that there was somebody who couldn't see me and couldn't get to me just the way I couldn't see him and couldn't get to him, but he was wondering about me too. That kind of felt nice. I looked at the people laying on the docks, fishing, walking along the lake shore. Walked by somebody that I was like, oh, look at these two guys with their two gay guys with their two little gay dogs, one with short legs and one that was like a wolf. Bears. But when I'm gay, and I spend most of my time around gay men, I just read everybody as a gay man, right? On the walk back, I found myself sending pictures to people, which is a lonely thing. That was a big part of when I was traveling alone when I was younger, was that I'd take pictures as a way of thinking about, this is so beautiful, I want to share it with someone. I'm not with anyone. The people who had texted me throughout the day, I sent them pictures of, look at this beautiful place I am right now. You were thinking of me today, and this is where I am. It's pretty. It's beautiful. Love to you. And on the walk back, I talked with these two guys that weren't gay at all. Their dogs are very nice. We had nice conversations. The husky, wolfy dog licked my face a few times, which he said, he doesn't like being pet. But he was a very fun dog. He barked, and I ran with him. It was good. But I ended up talking with these guys for a long time. In an open, friendly way. They were drinking beers. And one of them was definitely part Native American. The other one had been in the war. Which war? The Great American War that's been going on forever. He was drunk. But at the end of the conversation, he was like, wow, I don't usually like people. It's so nice to meet somebody I like. And I was like, yeah, a lot of people can be really annoying. I'm sure I can be annoying, but I practice being kind. It's nice to meditate. And the big bear, the one that was probably Native American-ish, he showed me all these videos on his phone. He'd taken up a bike run. He'd just gone off to Nevada where all these bikers were, and kept talking about his girlfriend and the girls who would lift their shirts and show their tits so you could give them beads and stuff. Men, they're so funny, aren't we? And he talked about, I told him that little thing I thought about the moon, and he said, when the astronauts went up there, they were changed. They hung their head. They didn't want to talk about what they experienced. There's some say that there are people who live up there, and that there's like a bell that rings from the moon, and everyone can hear it. Everyone can feel it if you listen. A very different idea, a very different place it was coming from. as the friends, the people I know who talk about the secret conspiracies of the secret cities on the moon hidden from us, the intergalactic stations, military installations, stuff like that. He was just like, no, it's a different dimension, it's a different world, people living. And he said something about, oh, human beings were mostly worthless, our time here is over. The kid I gave a write-up, he was saying like, oh, the world's going to end soon and all the humans will be gone. I'm like, the humans aren't going to be gone for a long time. Many of them are. And people die all the time, but I mean, the critical, no, we're not at the critical mass yet, unfortunately. But the critical mass we're reaching is to have a specific life experience. It's to have a specific life experience, but then it's going to end. But there's going to be a long waning period. It's not just going to be like a balloon popping. It's not how it's going to go. But in both of them, I felt like it was important to remind them that humans are not separate from anything. We are nature, and it's very weird. You can't live without the earth. You can't live without other people. You can't live without the other animals in the air. I mean, there's nothing we're not actually separate at all. And I've told them that I've been coming to think more and more and more that humans are just organs of the earth, or organs of existence, vehicles of experience vehicles for the planet, for the life force. And the delusional control operation systems of many of us, we're programmed to deal with what is actually happening around us, so we don't have a lot of forethought and foresight and understanding that what our actions are actually doing, so we're rampantly destroying the planet, but the planet it's not going to be destroyed. Not by us. We'll be gone long before the planet's destroyed by us. The humans aren't worthless. And they've got a while left to go. One of the things I fell into on my phone earlier today was Medium, which I guess is like a social network for writers. Maybe it's like the Web 3.0 version of Live Journal. Very educated people and companies and brands and all these things. And I don't think I'd ever messed with it before, but somebody had tagged me in an article about the Camino where somebody was writing on Medium. And it was just a blog post. I can't say, looking like a magazine, but it was just somebody writing about his experiences. And it was interesting to, whenever you set up a new account at these things, like, show us what you're interested in. These are the people you might want to follow. I mean, if you remember what it was like when you set up your Twitter account, if you have one. You might be interested in following these people, like Tumblr, all those things. Tumblr, I don't know, YouTube. So it's just like going through and reading these tiny little snippets and looking at these profile pictures of being like, and in the various categories that I clicked I was interested in, and being like, oh, this would be an interesting different way of interacting with media on the internet. Just people who are trying to put forethought into writing, and of course with the idea that, oh, this could be a new venue for the Dominic Vine show. Because that's what the Dominic Vine does. Puts on the Dominic Vine show. Anyway, so this is the Dominic Vine show for today, and I guess I started it because I thought of this is what the day's like. I'm trying to finish cleaning this van up so I can just live in it and not do anything for a few days. Like not have any plans or anywhere to go or anything to do, just be like nothing. I don't have to do anything, nothing. And so random things can happen. Staring at phones, meditating, hiking, talking to strangers, witnessing the damage of being in the war, the life, the joy, the sorrows, the connection with pets. Can give people a hand, can be useful, can just see the earth. Just move through it without anything to do. And then share a little bit. For those who might want to spend 15 minutes listening to somebody else's experience of a day. void of course. A version of being free.